I've never, not one time, been this ashamed to admit my home my home states, and I say states because I grew up on the Wyoming Colorado border, so between Denver and Laramie, those are my homes. Growing up for 26 years, moved 17 years ago, and I've never in my life encountered this before, and YouTube has been deleting a lot of my comments. So let's go ahead and just listen to what is it the mayor? It's the mayor. Okay, the mayor of Denver. Let's listen to what he's got to say about the illegals that are coming over into Denver and watch me now. His story is very heartwarming and it's touching.
It was very sad to touch my
Okay, so let me see if I can get back to where it was. Come on. Okay, I touched it. It's fine. Can we play though?
Or alternatives, which is a little bit of a message that I got from this tragic story that he tried to tell, that he tried to
because homeboy is explaining why Denver is trying to validate why they are supporting all the illegal immigrants coming in. This is fantastic. I've never in my entire life heard such. Hold please is coming.
With the tragedy, even though it shows clearly and obviously there are other options.
I want it to be clear to Denverites who is not responsible for this crisis that we're in. The folks who have walked 3,000 miles to get to this city, families like the one I talked.
The folks that have walked 3,000 miles to get to Denver, they're not responsible at all. Nope, not at all. He's gonna explain why. Hang on. Let's rewind that just in case, like it was missed. I don't want this to be missed because this is fantastic as fuck. Okay.
Crisis that we're in. The folks who have walked 3,000 miles to get to this city, families like the one I talked to who are running a grocery store in Venezuela, where you are living through 34,000% inflation. So the Coke that you were buying for $1 is now selling for $340.
Yep.
But your monthly pay is still stuck at $40.
I don't know how this shit works in Venezuela, so I can't be yay or nay on it. However, it's coming. It's coming. Listen to this tragedy, and how it's not the people who walked 3,000 miles from Venezuela to Denver, Colorado. It's not their fault. It's not at all. Holy shit. Okay, continue.
That is not survivable. And when you decide you're willing to take your 5-year-old and your 13-year-old and walk 3,000 miles to get here, but you're afraid that actually your 13-year-old daughter might get raped on the way through the Darien Gap, so you have to leave her in Colombia.
So, first question is, we're leaving our 13-year-old daughter in Colombia because we don't want her to get raped. That's valid. Okay. Where are we leaving her, though? Did you just drop her off with a random stranger? Why is it safe enough? Hang on, I'll finish this in a second. Let him finish, because we're at the point of the daughter, who's 13, is just left in Colombia.
While you take your 5-year-old and walk 3,000 miles. And you have to hold that 5-year-old's hand while he watches as a mom and an 8-year-old and a dog make their way through an incredibly treacherous...
Where the fuck did the 8-year-old come in at? Hold on. I thought she only had 2 kids. Is that not what he said? Who's the 8-year-old? Homeboy? Hang on.
That 5-year-old's hand,
okay,
while he watches as a mom and an 8-year-old and a dog make their way through an
Where did the 8-year-old come from? Did I miss that somewhere? He said 2 kids, right? As in 1 and 2, 13 and 5. I just need to make sure.
In Colombia, while you take your 5-year-old and raped on the way through the Darien Gap. That is not survivable.
Okay.
And when you decide you're willing to take your 5-year-old and your 13-year-old and walk 3,000 miles to get here,
Okay.
but you're afraid that actually your 13-year-old daughter might get raped on the way through the Darien Gap, so you have to leave her in Colombia while you take your 5-year-old and walk 3,000 miles.
Okay.
And you have to hold that 5-year-old's hand while he watches as a mom and an 8-year-old and a dog make their way through an incredibly treacherous mountain pass.
Are we talking about like a different family, or is this the same family? I'm not sure. Hang on. But I don't, where did the 8-year-old come from? Did we swap the 13-year-old for the 8-year-old, or is this a different family? You need to be a little bit more detailed in your story there, Mayor of Denver. Just because you got people like me who were born and raised in Wyoming and Denver, homeboy. Like, you should expect this from people that were born and raised there. We ask a lot of questions. We do. Yet we're very curious, especially the ones that were raised more in Wyoming, because we don't like to watch the grass grow. All right? So we're very curious about different shit. This is one of them.
And the 8-year-old's worried that the dog is about to fall off the edge of the mountain, so reaches to grab the dog. Dog goes over the edge.
This story, like,
the child goes
so
over
many
the
twists
edge?
and turns. Hang on. Try it one more time.
That 5-year-old's hand
Okay.
while he watches as a mom and an 8-year-old and a dog make their way through an incredibly treacherous mountain
Maybe it's a
pass.
difference.
And the 8-year-old's worried that the dog is about to fall off the edge of the mountain, so reaches to grab the dog.
Okay.
And the dog goes over the edge.
Uh-huh.
And the child goes over the edge. And the mom goes over the edge chasing that child and that dog, and the dad is standing there watching his entire family.
Why didn't Dad grab any of them? Valid question. And damn, what kind of dog y'all did they have? I got some pitties that have been to the Rockies, and they're like, we're not. Make it up a little bit. Maybe it's the Indiana in them. I don't know. Because breathing in Denver is considered a superpower due to the elevation. You're welcome. But yeah, so Dad, where were you at?
Be lost in a matter of seconds.
Well, where the fuck was he at though? Why didn't he grab him?
Those folks get up the next day
Okay.
and keep walking and keep walking and keep walking until they get to this country.
Now look,
Yeah, 3,000 miles. That's a long way to walk. So,
Sad to touch my
Dad, where were you? And again, let's start this from the beginning. Where did you drop your daughter off at in Colombia? I'm not a world traveler at all. I'm not. We were poor as fuck. When people find out that I'm from Wyoming, Colorado, the first thing they ask me is, why did you leave? My answer is pretty plain and simple. Have you been there for an extended amount of time in the winter? Yeah, especially Wyoming, where I spent the majority of my life. It's cold as fuck. Maybe the 40, that's a norm. The snot in your sinus,
We're there.
that's not a happy feeling. Yeah.
Got a little dippy going through the pass that hair.
We were poor as fuck, so we didn't travel too much. I've never been to Venezuela. I've never been to Colombia. What I've learned though in the past couple days doing these videos is that Colombia is not that much better than anywhere else. So why was it safe enough to leave your 13-year-old there, but the whole family wasn't welcome? No. Asking for a Fuentes. Okay. On the Fuentes. Now, again, because my comments get deleted all the time, even when I'm nice. All right. This whole everybody wants to fight for hate speech and this and that. Y'all are stupid. You're fucking with freedom of speech is what that's doing. All right. Let me know how that works out when your freedom of speech is being tampered with. So this is what I wrote. All right. Okay. As someone who was born and raised in Wyoming and Denver for 26 years, I just want to put out there that I have never, not one time in 43 years, ever been ashamed, as I am right at this moment, to claim Denver and Wyoming as my home, or just Denver I put. As ashamed as I am at this very moment to claim Denver as my hometown. At 5 minutes and 30 seconds into this video, bravo, mayor person, bravo. The fake tears, way to pull the heartstrings of the American people.
The music was very sad. It touched my heart.
Bravo with them fake tears, way to pull at the heartstrings of the American people. The story was so touching.
Expected the Rocky Mountains to be a little rockier than this.
And the death of the dog at the ending with your fake tears was just the chef's kiss.
I was thinking the same thing.
Okay, now that I got that out of the way,
That John Denver's full of shit, man.
this has to be the biggest crock of shit I have ever in my entire life heard. So, this 3,000-mile hike, that mom felt it would be better to leave her daughter in Colombia because she was afraid of what would happen to her daughter. You know that those same type of sick people that would harm your daughter also enjoy little boys, correct? I didn't know if you knew that or not. Now you do. You're welcome. You're welcome. Also, I've never been a world traveler, so I'm just wondering, due to the stories that I've heard over the past year or so, who did mom trust in Colombia with her 13-year-old? So much so that she ditched her daughter there. Because I have heard that place is just as bad as the next. But again, never been there, so I don't know. I'm just confused at how Colombia is safe for the daughter, but nobody else. And wow, what kind of a dog do they own? Again. What is it? Huh? Excuse me, Fatty. McPatty. I can't get my pitties to walk up Red Rocks, let alone 3,000 miles. That's insanity. And now I have more questions as to, Dad, where were you? Why is Mom jumping over the edge to save this damn dog and an 8-year-old? Where, Dad, you fell short. No pun intended on that one. By the way, hang on. Letty! There's one. Where's your sister? Wait, there she is. Yeah, I don't think they'd be walking 3,000 miles. What is it? Hi, baby. Hello. Yes. Oh, goodness gracious. So, I just wanted to put that out there. Let's see if we can... My dog, look at these babies, though. My goodness. Chookies. Sophie, are you farting? Like, she's smiling, so that means yes. Let's see what else Mayor Curtis has to say here.
Year-old and walk 3,000 miles.
And this is probably the entire point of this asylum fraud conversation. These people pass through multiple different countries in order to get to the United States of America, in order to get the best possible economic opportunity, and that is not the purpose of the asylum system. They should
do the bill. The migrants see us as rich whales they can squeeze. This Venezuelan migrant laid out the scam. Break in, drop a baby, and be a welfare king.
A todas esas mujeres.
To all those women that find themselves pregnant and are in Latin America, please come have your baby in the United States. And if you get married, you'll get more back in taxes. And, well, if you have 5 or 6 children, can you imagine? My daughter is American and she gave me citizenship. She pays our rent. She pays our bills. She gives us $1,500 a month since she was born. I have 6 months in the USA and I have everything you don't have. Citizenship, residency, a good car, and a good apartment.
Should be applying for asylum in every nation along the way before they get to the United States of America, because when you're saying that I'm desperate, I'm being persecuted by my government might kill me, the idea that you get your first choice instead of the next safe option doesn't make any sense. If these people wanted to immigrate as economic migrants, they have a process for that. However, cities like Denver that offer sanctuary, offer welfare benefits, are incentivizing this dangerous journey because these people know that some left-wing politicians like this idiot right here will take them in, and that's why they risk their lives. So the death of this family is not on the mountain, not on the dog, not on the evil white racist Republicans. It is on the left-wing Democrats that declare themselves sanctuaries, that promise all of these benefits, that make the United States of America a much more attractive option for asylum fraudsters than any country along the way. If Colombia was the next viable option and the United States of America was not promising all of these perks that act as magnets, that...
Now, when American women get pregnant, the government helps them stay single, work, and have an abortion. When a migrant gets pregnant, the government helps them cross the border, have the baby, get married, don't work, and put their hand out. Primetime producers crunched the numbers. A migrant family of 4 in New York could get over 20 grand a month in freebies. $500 a night at a hotel, $130 a day for food, and having 2 kids in public school costs us $5 grand a month.
Especially considering that Colombia is right next to Venezuela. Like, why? Huh? Like, if it's safe enough for your daughter, why are you and your son not safe there? Just checking. Just checking. I have so many questions now. So many. All right, continue.
Every family that he was trying to get you to sympathize for would be alive today. They would have stopped in Colombia as they did for their 13-year-old girl and applied for asylum or applied for whatever kind of policy that they have available there. And if that didn't work, guess what? They would go to the next available country and so on and so on, as they did for their 13-year-old viable option, and the United States of America was not promising all of these perks that act as magnets, that very family that he was trying to get you to sympathize for would be alive today. They would have stopped in Colombia as they did for their 13-year-old girl and applied for asylum or applied for whatever kind of policy that they have available there. And if that didn't work, guess what? They would go to the next available country and so on and so on. And by the way, I've said on this channel multiple times that people in Venezuela that are fleeing socialism often are probably people that would make good Americans if they make it to the United States of America. However, an immigration policy should be designed by the people who live in the nation, the host nation, and the idea that people fleeing communism or socialism make good Americans, therefore they get to break all the rules, is a disaster. On top of that, you just have a lot of other people onboarding through our porous southern border from other nations. It's not just Venezuelans, and that is leading to a bunch of different problems. So even though I believe that probably disproportionately Venezuelans would make good Americans in a similar manner to Cubans making good Americans, in reality, in actuality, you can't have an immigration policy that's just based on what might happen down the road in the future speculatively with certain groups of migrants that incentivizes other people to charge the border in a similar way. And I want to point out that while there is suffering in New York, while there is suffering in Denver, while there is suffering in Chicago, there are border towns in this nation that...
and it's weird that I live right next to Chicago as well. So, this is so frustrating. This is so frustrating, seeing all this shit everywhere and just seeing all the dumbasses not seeing a problem with all these people coming in and just taking and taking and taking and taking and taking when we can't even give to our own people. We can't. We have so many homeless people here in America. Let's take care of them. Let's take care of our veterans. Let's take care of our fucking single mothers and fathers here. Duh. Let's do that before we take care of everybody else. Why is that such a hard concept to understand? Why?
Experience such a massive influx of migrants where they overwhelm the host population that situation is much, much worse. The whole point of Greg Abbott's program, the whole point of this political stunt, is to send these migrants to the places that not only say that they are a sanctuary for migrants, but want them here nationally and vote for presidential candidates and members of Congress and members of the Senate that protect these people and allow them to come here on a national level because they never have to experience the problem. Well, now you're experiencing the problem, Mike Johnson, and you decided that you were going to cut services for citizens in order to compensate.
This is a plan for shared sacrifice. This is what good people do in hard situations, is you try to manage a way to serve all of your values.
I'm sorry, Mayor. I don't know what his name is. It just says Mayor. I'm sorry, Mayor. Did the people of Denver agree to this? Because I can call up my family and see if they agreed to this. Because again, it should be the decision of the people living in Denver, not yours. If you want to make that decision, cool. Take it out of your pocket, not everybody else's. All right, let's try that. Because I know the shit that's happening in Chicago is bleeding on over the border into Indiana. So I can imagine that it'd be bleeding over into the border of Wyoming as well. Just throwing out the obvi. All right, continue.
Our values are we want to continue to be a city that does not have women and children out on the street in tents in 20-degree weather. And we also want to be a city.
Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Got it. Got it. What about your citizens that are already there, that are on the streets, Mayor? What about them? Just checking. What about them? What about them?
Provides all of our constituents with the services they deserve and the services that they expect. We want to do both of those. We have to find a way to deliver shared sacrifice to try to manage those values in the road ahead. And so in terms of our first step on city cuts, we are announcing today we will make some changes both to our services at DMV and to our services on Parks and Rec. What that looks like for DMV is we are no longer taking vehicle registrations in person. We will move those to online. We will start rotating weekly.
Why are we cutting jobs, though? What is it? How are you going to pay for this if you cut people's jobs? What? That makes zero sense. What? Why are you cutting jobs for Denver citizens? Why are you doing that, sir?
DMV closures starting on March 4th. Our central spot at Tremont will stay open permanently, but our other satellite spots will rotate, closing 1 week at a time. That allows us to reduce costs in those places and still try to provide key services.
So right there, the mayor of Denver saying that they will move all vehicle registration.
What, right there, the mayor of Denver saying he's what he just said. I'll just save you the time. Person that I like, he's a piece of shit. You're cutting all these jobs for the citizens in Denver? What?
To online only. They're going to be closing different satellite offices on every other week.
God.
They'll keep their main office open, but they're cutting hours for DMV employees. I hope that feels good for the workers in the city of Denver, that, by the way, Mayor Mike Johnson was praising for taking on all these additional duties. And I just want to point out that this may be one of the reasons why Black residents are so opposed to migrants. Because remember, we hear all the time about how it's more difficult for Black Americans to have internet access and whatnot, and these particular changes moving to online only are going to disproportionately affect people that are in poverty, that are American citizens, and the elderly, people who are not necessarily internet savvy and won't be able to get their registration done.
My parents would be one of them. They can't fucking use the internet. They've got it. Can they use it? No. Oh my God. All right.
At that point in time, which of course will lead to more fines from the city of Denver. So they'll be paying more for expired registration. And this is all to support a population of people that are wildly disproportionately defrauding our asylum system just because the mayor of Denver doesn't want to admit that he's wrong. And of course, he blames the Republicans.
I'm here to talk a little bit about the devastating impact of the failure of Republican leadership.
But are you going to cry again, though? That was fantastic.
In Congress this week to pass comprehensive immigration change and the impact that will have on both city budgets and on services that we can provide for newcomers in the city.
So, oh my God, them Republicans are not passing this immigration act. What's wrong with them?
We will also have to make...
We don't want to send $60 billion to Ukraine. We kind of wanted that money for here in the U.S. Shame on us. So let's cut people's jobs because of that. Really?
Decisions around reducing services for Parks and Rec heading into this summer and spring. That means beginning February 20th, we will reduce hours at our rec centers. Our regional centers that are 7 days will come back to 6 days. Those sites that are 6 days will stay at 6 days, but will reduce hours.
You're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. You're welcome.
I want to name, and Council President has been a key voice for this. I think both our CFO, Nicole Doheny, and our Chief Equity Officer, Dr. Ben Sanders, have been working together on how we find these cuts and how we make sure that these cuts are equitable, because they do not have a...
Why aren't the cuts coming out of your pocket there, homeboy? Why are you not taking cuts, though? I'm confused. Where are your cuts at? Where are the cuts from whoever you just named right there? Where are your guys' cuts at? That's not fair.
Proportionate impact on the communities that are most at risk already in our city. That's why, for instance, we did not cut back the number of days for our regional centers. We kept them open for the same number of days because those are the places in the communities that are most affected with kids with the greatest needs, where we know if we reduce their access to positive things to do, the risks of them getting into additional challenges go up. And so.
But you just cut mom and dad's jobs off, though, homie. You just cut mom and dad's jobs off, so they can't afford to get into them parks. Anyways, there's that. You're welcome. Okay.
That same lens of equity you'll see in today's decisions, you will see in all the decisions going forward. But we do want to name that those will be coming.
So right here, they're cutting Parks and Rec as you're heading into the summer. This is honestly cutting off your nose in part to spite your face, because one of the reasons why people tend to visit places like Denver and Colorado is due to the natural beauty of those particular areas. But guess what? You got to close it up. You got to lock it up because these illegal migrants committing asylum fraud are here. And the mayor thinks that we need more money for them rather than for the actual services that the city is supposed to provide. Now, I don't feel sympathetic to this mayor. I don't feel sympathetic that much to the citizens of Denver because they instilled these policies. He is not backing off of these policies. And he says the poem of the Statue of Liberty is the reason why.
They believed it. When we put on the bottom of the Statue of Liberty, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all are created equal.
First of all, that's the Declaration of Independence.
Thank you for pointing that out. And Mayor, why are you crying? Why are you crying? I'm going to need you to stop crying. First and foremost, stop crying. Okay? Stop it. You're Why are you crying? Don't be a little bitch right now. Man the fuck up. Why are you crying? Oh my God. And you're the mayor. For fuck's sakes. Get your shit together, all right?
And second of all, more importantly, the poem in the Statue of Liberty is not law. It is not policy. This weird idea that we're going to constantly reference this each and every time we talk about crafting an immigration policy makes no sense at all and is ridiculous and absurd in every possible way. On top of that, that was written at a time and it referenced a time in American history where we did not have a welfare state, where you would come to the United States of America and you would either make it on your own or go back. That was the policy in America for the longest time. And you would have to rely on private communal organizations, maybe people that are from your same country of origin, in order to get yourselves on your feet, in order to make sure that you could be a productive member of the United States of America. In this particular instance, we have a population that is claiming asylum, they're claiming victim status, and they're trying to do that in order to get as many resources as possible. And again, Denver can do what the neighboring towns and neighboring cities in Colorado are doing to Denver, which is refusing to take these people, which is not offering them benefits, which is saying we are not a saint.
It's not that hard. Denver, grow some balls back. What happened? Like in 17 years that I've been gone. What happened there? Oh my Lord. This is insanity. Wow. All right. Got it. Okay.
city. We're not going to subordinate immigration fraud. However, the solution from the mayor is the same solution that we've heard in New York City, in Chicago, at the New York State level from Ocasio-Cortez, and that is as follows.
So this is a hopeful part for us, as I have talked to mayors around the country, and they say exactly what you said, which is if we have folks with work authorization, they would love for them to come to their cities. Every one of the cities have labor shortages like we see. And so this is why that was...
Stop cutting off everybody's jobs.
important dynamic is that it's not actually a problem with the total inflow.
Now, this might sound logical to some people out there in the audience, and you don't have to be a left-leaning progressive, a bleeding heart, somebody who wants all these illegal immigrants in the United States of America to think that this might be sound policy. A lot of libertarian people will say that the issue is that 180-day waiting period that these people have to wait before they can be authorized to work in the United States of America. But the thing is, policies create incentives. Actions have reactions. So right now, a lot of these migrants are coming to the United States of America because we have set up our asylum system in such a way. We removed Remain in Mexico and all these other policies that incentivize them to not try to sneak past Border Patrol, but walk up to Border Patrol, say the proper words, and that will put them in the asylum system. They are responsible.
And they even have little lists, like pieces of paper, that if their answer gets denied, they're given a sheet of paper, I don't know from who, but they're given a sheet of paper that tells them what else to let Border Patrol know of when entering.
To those incentives. Then they choose mostly, because it's not just Greg Abbott shipping them to left-wing sanctuary cities, to go to these left-wing sanctuary cities because they're offered better benefits there. Now, in theory, you could take some of these people off the public dole a lot faster if you gave them work authorization, and then they ended up getting jobs and started paying taxes and being productive in the United States economy. However, this is not really true because they're not going to get high-paying enough jobs in order to get them off of welfare benefits. But more importantly, this will incentivize far more people to flood the border because now you're reducing one of the very few limitations on these people when they get to the United States of America. And yes, that is that 180-day waiting period. So the idea that we solve this by creating an even bigger magnet for these illegal migrants is an absolute disaster. It's completely absurd. It's completely ridiculous. The result of this will be that more and more people will be flooding the border because now you don't even have to wait in a center for 180 days in order to get the work authorization in order to engage in the United States economy. On top of that, a lot of these people are coming to work in the United States of America in order to send money back to their family, back in their home country, because again, they are not legitimate asylum seekers.
Yeah, because again, fuck America, right? Fuck America. This is fantastic. I'm so glad that this is what this is my children's future. This is the future of my grandchildren. This is fantastic as fuck, actually.
And that support for those people, that basically foreign aid for those people back in their own countries, is going to incentivize other people in those same towns to make the same journey for the same goals. So while it might sound like very superficially that speeding up work authorization will ameliorate some of the issues in the city of Denver, in reality, in actuality, that will cause even more people to flood to the border because, again, you have to change the incentives in order to have this problem resolved. And to me, the most important incentive is the fact that we cannot have people pass through all these different countries and then claim asylum here. You have to do asylum claims in every country that you stop in because asylum is not meant for economic migration. And by the way, these politicians admit repeatedly that these are economic migrants, but if they're going to claim asylum, they need to go through the asylum process in each and every country they pass through, and that is the only policy that will actually disperse these migrants, stop them from flooding the border and claiming asylum. And if they flood the border and don't claim asylum, they do so illegally, that will give us the right to eject them so that we can get these numbers down. Right now, the incentives are all out of whack. That is the main issue. You correct the incentives, you will correct the problem. And Mike Johnson says, oh, it's the Republicans not passing this.
Never in my entire life have I ever been ashamed to say that I'm from Denver in Wyoming. The mayor's a little fucking bitch. Motherfucker was crying, telling a sob story. Get the fuck out of Colorado. Go. We don't fucking cry like little